So basically, I went to the event, played Battlefield 1. I played 2 times. I got to the event when they said the doors were going to open around 4 something. I had to wait in line until 6. They finally let me in. They said I wasn't supposed to play the game until 7 o'clock. I was scheduled to go play Titanfall, which... It's Titanfall, man. It's not really my bag. It's fucking cool, and it's fun. I didn't really get into the whole grappling hook thing that I saw in the trailer, but again, I'm making this video about Battlefield 1. So at the event, they take us into a room, basically give you, video PowerPoint presentation about how, everything's going to go down. So let's back into the meat and potatoes. So they basically, they took us in a room for about 10 to 15 minutes, I would say, of a video PowerPoint presentation, basically letting you know, the history of Battlefield, basically what the game's capable of, what kind of different classes you can play, how you can spawn into the game, how the weather is going to affect basically your loadout, and how you can equip multiple loadouts for certain situations depending on the conditions of the map, and just things like that. They didn't get into stupid shit like skins or whatnot, just really basic gameplay stuff. And then they basically gave you a gist of how the game's going to work. I imagine this is for people that have never played Battlefield before. It's like, here's how the game works. This is what you press to do that. We got little cards at each station tell you what buttons the basics are. They didn't get too fucking deep into the meat and potatoes of what buttons do what when you're in a vehicle or whatnot. If your flying's inverted, etc. Flip over the card, it'll show you what the controls are on the Xbox control. They were pretty strict about photography at the event, which kind of sucks. But I mean, I get it because the footage is pre-alpha. It's not final game footage. So who knows what fucking changes they're gonna make to that game. You don't know if the menus are gonna be the same. You don't know if what tweaks they're gonna make to the weapons and stuff. I think all of that stuff's going to be set as far as how the guns handle and all that stuff. I was watching a video X Factor had just made earlier about how it was kind of miserable to take a machine gun and try to get into a gunfight with somebody, from 30 meters away or whatever the fuck. But I imagine in World War I, most of the guns in that period sucked to get in a 30-meter gunfight with somebody, to begin with anyways. There was a lot of people actually making the sidearm not pointless. There was a few times I had gotten into a gunfight, with my submachine gun, or my shotgun. The shotguns are impractical from far away. It's whoever's, getting the hit points first is going to get the kill. Sometimes it was just easier to pull out the sidearm and, get into a gunfight that way than, trying to find an unsuspecting victim who's probably focused somewhere else and then just start blasting on them. The first game that I ended up playing, I went 13-5, which, I know killing's not the point of a Battlefield game or whatnot, but they're really trying to change the way that Conquest works. So basically you can't just fucking go flag hopping and shit and then win a game or control something. They basically have balanced it, and they showed it basically in the video prefacing you going out there. They showed if your team and the other team is on a flag, there'll be a little bar that's right above whatever letter you're on, and it'll show hey, there's this many of this force here, so they're more likely to capture the flag even though you're stalemating it. Whoever wins the gunfight there, basically throughout that stalemate, it's going to progress, capture the flag, and then you can choose to defend it or you can choose to move on to the next one. There's no real cap out type of thing like that from any of the games that I had played or watched. Yeah, basically it's you can either spawn on a vehicle, you can spawn on your squad leader you always can. I don't know if I already said you can spawn on a vehicle. You can spawn on a moving vehicle that anyone on your respective faction is driving, or you can just spawn at home base if you want, or you can spawn on a flag, just Battlefield's been doing it forever. The way vehicles work is pretty interesting. The first time I went to go play, I wanted to make sure that I did infantry only, and then I played all of the kits. I didn't get to use every single weapon because I don't know what every single weapon is. The loadout screen is pretty basic. It gives you there were screenshots on the internet that shouldn't be on the internet, but you can find it. They cleaned up that whole graphic user interface, so you don't have like the layered like battle log screen shit where you're picking like your gun, 60 camouflages to put on your gun, 30 sights and all that stupid shit. It was pretty much like you have like your 4 classes. You have your assault, mechanic, engineer, whatever. You have your medic. You have your I'm drawing a blank here. Assault, medic, support, and the sniper was the last class. I don't remember if support was the second or the third choice, but those 4 choices are sitting there like on a level right here, and then down below that's like your primary weapon, your secondary, your first perk, your second perk, what kind of grenade you want to have, and then some other shit, maybe like a secondary perk or a class perk or something like that. I forget the order of it. Again, I'm just going off the top of my dome. I'm not at the event anymore, and quite a few hours have passed. I just felt like I needed to make a video from a perspective of somebody that's not a YouTube celebrity or a celebrity that went there and basically just genuinely likes Battlefield and wanted to give you guys my opinion on how it handled. I'm not under any embargoes. I don't have any special footage of the game. Just the shit that's running behind me that was on the live stream. You can't do the cheesy fucking Q spotting thing. I tried a few times in the game just to make sure to call out spots when I saw them, and I noticed that they would disappear just moments after I made the call outs. So yeah, I noticed the same thing that X Factor noticed, that somebody hides behind cover, your call out disappears, it'll blip back up, but you basically have to call the target out again until basically the target's terminated. It won't let you know like what you're aware. So you have to really be aware of your surroundings and like what's going on when you go to approach a flag or whatnot, because there's so much openness that when you finally do decide to approach a flag, you kind of get like tunnel vision. And what I mean by that is like, I'm just gonna run through this building, I'm gonna be safe, nobody's down this alley, and then next thing you know, you run into like 4, 5, 6 dudes. There's no indication that they were on your mini map, no spots going out. And again, I don't know if this is going to change like when the full game comes out, when there's commanders involved and people are doing like recon and calling spots or whatnot. But for everybody not knowing like how to really play the game, and the few that had like Battlefield experience that jumped on today and were playing, it's going to be a good casual reset, a good casual gaming experience, a good reset on this franchise. It'll just be really familiar to any veteran that plays it, but it handles differently. So Battlefield 1, it handles differently. You're going to be used to, I'm an expert at fucking FPS. Once I figure out the recoil of guns, I'll use my fucking master macro skills to control it. Like, no, everything is sporadic in this game, and I'm sure some nerd's going to chart it out in the future to figure out like where the recoil's ping-ponging, when you're firing weapons. But I mean, it's World War I, it was brute warfare, just a whole bunch of crazy shit going on. So without like specifically playing it, it's like there's so many things to fixate on, that you could talk about with the game. So the assault class, basically you can either pick a shotgun or you can pick an SMG. So you're going to be a short range dude. So the equivalent of being limited to carbines, whereas in Battlefield 4, you had assault rifles, you had carbines, you had shotguns, you had DMRs. Not in this game. You get shotguns, you get SMGs. So you already get nerfed, being a long range class. Assault basically becomes engineer. So we nixed the 5th class of Battlefield. I just got ice cream all over myself. So I just pretend that's not on my shirt. And you can't see it anyways. SMGs, you get shotguns. You basically can do repairs to vehicles. You also get anti-tank rounds. so you can be a force to be reckoned. You can put tank mines down. It's a very configurable class. You know, like I said, you only get 20 minutes to play each round, and I only played 2 go-abouts. I mean, the event went on till about 10 p.m. I just decided to cut out early because I felt that I was so scatterbrained in trying to do everything and then try to, like, absorb that experience. And then I realized, like, I didn't have anyone else to talk to it about because I'm the only one that went out of my, like, circle of friends. All my buddies I play video games with live in Indiana. So, again, with that limited time frame to play the game, you know, I just really tried to, like, my bucket list was to play with each class, play with 2 types of their weaponry, and the second go about when I went back, I wanted to get vehicle playing. Now, I didn't do any tank play because there's certain vehicles that were already available for you to just kind of hop in when you spawned at, like, home base. So on my first go about, I got into like a semi-armored truck or something with like a mounted gun on the back. We rode that to a couple of points, ran some people over, capped some flags, and I was like, cool, I'm done with, you know, vehicles. I want to get a feel of how this baby drives, you know, on foot. So I was out there with the assault class trying to do my thing, and, you know, I got some pretty satisfying kills in. A couple of them, like I said, were sidearm kills. After I died with the assault class, I switched to the medic class. I just kind of picked the gun that looked like it made the most sense. I'm not a World War I fanatic, so I don't know what's bolt action, what's semi-auto, but I can tell you if you only have 20 minutes to play a video game, you're not going to sit there thumbing your ass with a bolt action trying to win a gunfight with everyone else who's using semi-auto weapons. I think a lot of people were picking the support class because of this, you know, just brainless shooting that you can do basically in a oh shit situation. But the problem is that you can't do brainless shooting with a support class because those weapons were very uncontrollable. The whole purpose of them was to, you know, bipod them down and lay down cover fire and shit. So right now the medic class seems to be like the most that's going to be the most popular choice again, and that's kind of always been like the popular choice. I mean, you can't run around like you do in Battlefield 4 and just throw down packs of health and heal yourself and become some kind of like one-man army. The heals don't really work that way, and the med packs kind of disappear really quickly. And I hope I didn't have ice cream in my beard this whole time. So yeah, I got into a situation where it was like 1v2 a lot, and I was obviously the one, you know, and I would take down like 2 dudes, but the reload animations of World War I mean, it took some time. And I spent a lot of time, you know, pulling out my sidearm because that just seemed to be what was most efficient, what reloaded the fastest, what allowed me to, you know, get a bearing on my target. And pretty much, I felt it was the most accurate weapon out of, you know, what was available for me to pick. Support class, I gave that one go. I think it comes with a wire trip mine, and I don't really know like how that worked because I had put one down at the top tower of a flag. And I didn't really know what the fuck it was. I put it down. I thought it was going to blow up, and I jumped the fuck out of the building. And I must have switched at least 2 classes from that point, and was playing across the, you know, the other side of the map when I kept getting a notification I killed somebody with a tripwire. And so I was like, oh, I guess that's what that thing was. You know, again, you did not have a lot of time to figure out what all this stuff is. So where were we? Now that I don't have ice cream in my face. Basically, my personal feelings is that the medic class is probably going to be the most popular class, again, in the Battlefield series. I feel it has the most mid-range versatility in weapons. It seemed like there was some semi-auto rifle action going on, small clip, and I didn't really get to figure out the weapon types. Again, it just had the names of the weapons. When you clicked on the primary weapon, it gave you like a list of guns. It kind of gave you like a little black drawing of what the gun was, but you don't know if it's like semi-auto. You don't know like what its accuracy is, you know, how it's gonna kick, etc., etc. There's no layer. This is the attachments, this is that, your iron sights, It's like, here, pick a gun, hit deploy, and then go do your thing. So I think the medic class from the alpha had the most well-rounded weapons out of all the choices. It seemed the assault medic, or the assault engineer, you had to get really close to somebody to really do some damage, just due to the recoil being really uncontrollable with those older style weapons. And then the support class, really hard to do any kind of longer or semi-decent range gunfighting with, because of the recoil of a machine gun from that period of time. I think they kind of went too realistic on the grouping of shots for that thing. So without a bipod down, it's pretty much like it's stupid to try and maybe if you're close to people, you don't have to zoom in. You can just fucking and and kill people. The scout class I probably played twice. I don't like the fact that I was just too still. I felt like that was just minutes wasted that I could have been playing the demo. And I didn't know if they were going to let me play the demo more than once, or if I had to do like one time. I came back during my scheduled appointment time and played. So those were all things that were going through my head while I'm playing the game. Let me get the most out of the time that I'm given. So I just try to do a lot with with a little. Other than that, I think the gameplay is great. I did some air combat. Wasn't too great at it, mainly because of the inverted flying. I can't inverted fly with a shit with a mouse, and I didn't want to be disrespectful and change their controls. Much less, I think they were probably locked off anyways for you to make any changes or custom bindings while you were there. So just with that crutch alone, flying was not really enjoyable to me, because I naturally just move the mouse where the plane's going to point. I figure that's easiest. I'm all for inverted flying with a joystick and a throttle. If you have those things, you might get more of an enjoyable experience flying in this game than you will have in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, since they never could really get the throttle thing right in those two games. And that's why I kind of threw mine in a closet, just because flying made more sense with a mouse and a keyboard and third-person view, and just toggling the afterburners and doing whatever fucking ring around the rosy trick everyone was doing. So the air combat in this is not as tight as Futuristic Flyers, and as you would expect it to be. The planes are slow, they're clunky, but they feel authentic and they're powerful. So there's a lot of balance to how they work in that respect. So when you're laying down like ground fire or whatnot, it packs a punch, it does damage, but you can't just go do a strafe run and then try and do your little ring around the rosy trick to get quick back on that target. You have to fly out, make your approach, and then hope that your team didn't cap that flag already, and then you got to figure out where else. So I guess once you can play the game with custom binds, you can kind of look around while you're flying, and you're not stuck with that forward view only. I think flying is probably going to be a lot more enjoyable in this game. Now, I did take a bomber out for a bit, and that was an interesting experience. With the bomber, it's a multiple seat plane, so kind of taking it back to Battlefield 2 in that respect, where you can either, if you're flying the bomber, you don't get a gun, to lay waste on targets. Your specific job is to bomb shit. Now, someone else can spawn on the plane with you, either in the front or back position, and they can kind of toggle in between those seats with, I'm assuming F2 and F3, like you would imagine it would work in a Battlefield game. Or I think two people additionally can spawn in on that bomber, and basically I think that's the new Black Hawk. That could be the new Black Hawk. With a pilot that's willing to just fly and really just sacrifice your own points basically for assisting. You could do a nice strafe over an area while your two teammates are laying cover fire down on an area, and then you can swoop out, come back in for that concentrated bombing run. You can drop a big damaging bomb on a target, or you can drop a little cluster of bombs, and they don't reload that quickly. So again, like it's not like Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3, arcadey, flying characteristics. This is more like a World War flight sim characteristic type of flying mechanic in this game. So it may not be for everyone who's into, I'm an arcadey pilot and I'm the shit. Like, this is for people that, can work as a team, can communicate with whoever's in whatever seats of the bomber. And I think, once people utilize that properly, that's going to be a devastating tool. The gunfighting, the fighter planes, pretty fun to fly. Like I said, I felt like I was wasting minutes in the air trying to like look for a dogfight to get into. I did get a fight with the Zeppelin or the airship or commander ship or whatever the fuck they're calling it, the Behemoth. That's pretty cool. So you can either fly, you do like strafing runs. You can either shoot the the balloon area of it, or you can come down and you can hit the turret attachments that are basically raining down fire on either team. And basically, that is different from how the AC-130 worked in the previous games. There's not like a point that you capture and then your team gets this big old dominating like airship. It's pretty much like, hey, our team sucks, and it's a handicap type of thing. And it'll come in and it can either save your ass if everybody who's in it knows what they're doing, or you'll just lose the game as you were intended, and basically get some punches in on the way down to the mat for your final count of 10. As far as physics, mechanics, and stuff like that, the game feels amazing. It feels like they nailed it with all the CTE stuff and all that. The game handles awesome. So like that running mechanic that they had before, where like you got to like a little thing, you did your little 2-leg hoppy shit over the wall. This one, you fucking full on vault walls, and it's pretty awesome because it changes the gameplay dynamic for close quarters combat, especially if you got somebody spawning out. Like, hey, somebody's hiding on this wall on the other side of you. You could surprise the shit out of them, just hop over that wall, and So I thought that was a very interesting addition to the game, because I don't think you could vault walls that high in Battlefield 4, much less I don't think there were walls that high for you to vault in Battlefield. I mean, you could probably do like the whole jumping thing and try to Mario Brothers over it, but this one has full-on vaulting animations for you to hop over walls. So I thought that was really really awesome. Yeah, let's talk about melee kills. Melee kills in this game are the shit. In Battlefield 3, in Battlefield 4, they introduced that whole thing where, it has like the stupid animation. Basically, whoever wins the netcode battle, can press F, and you guys can sit there and have a circle jerk on who's going to lose their dog tags. And in this game, it's like, if you catch someone slipping, just fucking hit F and ruin their shit. And it's satisfying. It's gruesome. It's brutal. It's not like, let me press this button, I'm going to do a melee kill, and then an FMV is going to start, post, action. It was fluid as shit. You walk up to someone, you catch them slipping, hit them with the melee, no circle jerking with F, and fucking bam, they're dead. If you pick the gun with a bayonet, which I did maybe like once or twice, again, given figuring out that the black graphic for a rifle had some big long thing on the front of it, didn't really paint, hey, I have a bayonet. I picked it like once, and basically you sprint with, you just sprint to do a bayonet charge, and you press your melee button, and basically your targeting reticle will turn into like an energy thing, like stamina bar, kind of like Reinhardt from that other game, Overwatch. Basically, you do like a nice uncontrollable, semi-controllable charge until that bar runs out. You can cancel it, or what I did when I gave it a try and didn't want to get like caught with my pants down, is I did it into a wall. So that way I would obviously stop, and then I would regain control of my character. But I never once got an opportunity to get a sweet charging melee kill, and I was a little butthurt about it. But I did get 2 regular melee kills with a little fucking axe, and that shit was legit. Like I said, gunfighting, if you know what you're doing, you're switching between your primary, your secondary, you're gonna do just fine out there. You know, you basically just keep a mindful, I wouldn't say watch, but awareness of you know, how much ammo your weapon has, and you'll learn pretty quick once you get into a gunfight and you run out of fucking bullets. Just for how long you can sit there and crank on someone before you go, hey, I should probably pull out my primary before I find out my primary, or pull out my secondary before I find out, you know, my primaries, and you know, they're still gunning at me, or they're, you know, they have a better advantage. And again, this was all played in a zero ping environment, so all the stuff that you would normally do when you play Battlefield Online, like leading your shots, compensating for netcode, shit like that, that kind of threw me off because it's been a while since I played Battlefield on LAN. Just little things like that was really hard to adjust. Again, I play video games with a group of guys from Indiana, and I always have to compensate for, you know, having 70, 80 ping when I play these types of games. So I'm always used to leading my target, shooting just a little bit ahead. But on this one, it's like if you were close enough to someone, just bang them on point. And again, the gunfighting, as I said, everything was going so quick, so it was really hard to tell, like, you know, how much damage you're really doing to somebody. You know, like how much longer is it going to take before you put them down. You can't go based on like how you feel from like Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. Like, you know, when you're shooting someone and all your shots are hitting, you have like you know, this awareness that this person's gonna go down after the next shot. Bam, let me move on to the next target. So there was like no picking up on that on day one with this game. It's like you kind of gotta work on them until that thing pops up on your screen. Hey, this motherfucker's dead. And then once you get that message, it's like, alright, I can move on to the next target. And then you're like, oh shit, there's somebody right there. And then you pull out your pistol and hope one of you guys like doesn't suck at like dancing and jumping around and shooting each other. It was just, again, I don't understand how people can put these videos out so focused. They probably write down a script or have like a list of shit that they go over and rehearse these things with you. But I'm just like, I'm going over things and I'm thinking of like off the top of my head. Like, we got this this video playing in the background of the live stream that was going on earlier today, and you know, this person right here is using well, it's already skipped. So basically, the casters were using like a spectating mode, which basically had like a 10-second timer on anything that they were watching. So it would switch to somebody before they could say anything meaningful about what was going on the screen. Fuck, man, this game is so fucking crazy. I cannot wait for it to come out, dude. Like, everything is destructible. There's like legit trench warfare in the game. You know, makeshift trenches, shit's blowing up, you can hide in it. It was never confusing to see, to tell like who was an enemy, who was a friendly. I really like the overhead icon that they use, basically blue or red, to indicate if it was a friendly or an enemy, you know, faction. You didn't have like a full-on name, you didn't have a rank, you didn't have some stupid-ass picture of what the rank was. Just super simple, basic shit, and I think sometimes less is better. The interface on the side of the screen, it's a little bulky compared to what you're used to with Battlefield 3 and 4. They could probably condense that a bit, I think. Again, this is pre-alpha footage, so who knows what they're going to change. You know, I have that feeling that I played a certain game today, and come release day, you know, Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes isn't going to be like Metal Gear Solid The Phantom Pain. You know, a lot of shit's going to change. There's so much information that's coming out on this video game. I don't feel like I'm the one to deliver it to you. Again, I just so happen to go to the EA Play event. I see a lot of people armchairing their opinions about how the game plays. The stupid announcer lady's distracting. I'm a video game design expert. Wham, 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 wham. Instead of, hey, I was in LA, I wasn't doing shit. Instead of, you know, flipping through YouPorn and jacking off to that stuff, I signed up for the event. I went to the event. I played the video game. I have experience with it. And I can say that, you know, it's looking to be really good from somebody from a Battlefield veteran perspective. And I would see you guys on the battlefield. Deuce, deuce.